Okay, this is a recording about the VisiPitch, and I'm just going to kind of go through the basic measurements that we do, and the VisiPitch is that right there, and you'll see that there's a channel 1 and a channel 2, and we just have the microphone hooked into channel 1. You could have another microphone for channel 2. The first thing you do is click on VisiPitch 4. You just open it up, and the first measurements you take with the VisiPitch is the habitual pitch, and then the pitch range. And the habitual pitch is under the real-time pitch. Okay, so you just open that program. So then the first thing you're going to do is have the patient count 1 to 10 in a normal voice at a normal speech rate. So you don't want your patient to count 1, 2, 3, and so on, because that's not a normal speech rate, and that will give you a skewed habitual pitch. So I usually demonstrate for them, and you just have them count about like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So you really want them, unless they really are respiratory compromised, they should be able to count from 1 to 10 on one breath. So the first thing that you do, obviously you have to give the patient the microphone, and I'll just demonstrate so you can't see me with the mic, but there is a cheat sheet in here, and on the cheat sheet you can see the first thing is real-time pitch, and then it shows you some of the the function keys. Okay, so you're going to demonstrate for the patient and then have them do it. So I'm going to hit F12 here so it's going, and then I'll pick up the mic and you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. But what you see on the screen is the blue is pitch and the gray is the volume of the voice. Okay? Now what you have to do in order to analyze this sample is you need to select the sample. So we're going to select the part of the screen that is just me counting. And there's a couple ways you can do this, and the cheat sheet talks about how you can click. I think you click and then hit the space bar or hit the shift key. But I normally just come right over here, and let me zoom in a little bit. And you can drag. There's 3 different colored bars here, and to be honest with you, I don't know what red and green does. But usually the first one you pick is going to be blue, and that's the one you need. So you just drag it over to the end. Okay, so that's the beginning of when I started to count 1 to 10. And then you just go over here and grab the other one. That's about where I stopped. Okay? Then you just go right up here to this key, and it will analyze the sample. And that's what you get popped up. So you can see that for that sample, it's giving you a mean frequency and then a mean fundamental frequency, and I usually use the mean fundamental frequency, which you can see right there is 200.92. So I would write that down as my mean habitual pitch of 200 hertz. You don't necessarily need to do the decimals unless you're doing research. Okay, so then you would close this, and then the next measurement you need to get is the person's basal pitch, and that's their lowest pitch that they can go. So you don't have to make any changes on the screen for that. As soon as you hit F12, I think it just clears it and just starts over. Okay, and there's a variety of ways of how you can get someone to get to their low pitch. If they're a savvy voice user, if they're a singer or something like that, they can probably get down there easy, but other people may not be able to. So I typically will just have them, I'll just demonstrate a glide gradually. So it's best to have them start at, say, a mid-tone and then gradually go down, rather than trying to just hit their lowest note right on the spot. So it would sound, and it's best if you're going for the lowest pitch, the basal pitch, to do the vowel O. Ah is okay too, but you don't want to do E, because our larynx is naturally elevated a bit when we do E, and you won't get to the lowest pitch. Okay, so I would demonstrate to them from anywhere in the middle and then just glide down. And the key is you can't just take the lowest pitch they get. They need to be able to hold that pitch for at least 2 or 3 seconds. Okay, because you might get some spots But if their voice is breaking at that low pitch, and that's really the case when you get up to the high pitches, that's not what you would call their basilar ceiling pitch. So they need to be able to hold it steady. I'll show you with the microphone. Now you have this sample, and you can see on the left there that it's a little bit higher. Just over here is higher than over here. So you have to select your sample at least a 2 or 3 second mark of the lowest notes, okay? And the bar across the bottom here is seconds. Now, it's 1 second from here, 6 to 7, okay? So, and I've probably been a little bit too liberal on this, but we're going to select probably from here to here, okay, to get at least close to 2 seconds. So we're going to go grab our blue and slide it over to about there, and we'll grab it here, okay? And then it's the same thing. You just go up and let me zoom in so you can see what that button really looks like. When you hover on it, it says statistics. You just click it, and it gives you, now it's just analyzing that sample. So for this sample, the lowest would be this one, where's my mouse here, 152.21, okay? So just 152. It's best to do any of these measurements twice. I don't always do twice, but it's a good thing to do that. And if there's any doubt whether or not it was a good sample, you definitely need to do it twice. Now we will measure the ceiling. Now, there's a couple things you have to do with the ceiling, because first of all, if I zoom in over here, you see in the blue it says frequency. That screen is only measuring from 50 hertz to 400 hertz. That's all that's going to show up on the screen, and that's also all that the computer is going to analyze. So anything above 400 hertz is just not even going to be considered. And most people's ceiling, unless they're really dysphonic, their ceiling should be well over 400 hertz. So we have to change that. Just for your own reference, this side shows you what the range is in energy or dB. So the first thing you have to do is change, there's 2 things you have to change. One is you have to change the screen, so it's showing you a bigger range, but you also have to change the processing. So you go up here to Options, okay, and then you hit Real-Time Pitch Options, and this pops up, okay? So the first one you're going to go to, there's lots of things you can change in here, but we're just going to focus on changing the pitch range. So click on Pitch, and then here's, you can see this, the display range. So we're going to change this 400 to 1,000. 1,000 should be sufficient for most people. 800 is for a lot of people. And then you have to make sure you go down here and hit Apply. Don't just hit OK, because if you hit OK, it'll just go back to the default of 400. Okay, so that's just changing the screen, the display range. Now you have to change the processing. So you click on Processing, and then down here in the corner, I'll zoom out so you can see it. Down there in the corner is the analysis range. And you can see now that it still says 400. So even if you could see it on the screen, it's not going to analyze it. So you need to change that also to 1,000 and hit Apply. Okay, and now you're good, so you can hit OK, and that's gone. And now you can see the screen changed, and we have this blue line in the middle, and that's the 400 default. It's just giving you an automatic reference line, and I normally just want it out of the way, so you just click on it, and then you can just slide it up out of the way. So now you're going to demonstrate to them how to get up to their ceiling pitch, and you want to do the ceiling pitch on the vowel E. Okay, so again, start at some mid-tone and glide up as high as you can go, and then hold that upper tone. Okay, let me do it on the screen. Okay, so what you're seeing here is a lot of scatter. And when you get that scatter towards the end of those really high pitches, that's probably not a really great sample of a ceiling pitch. Okay, So I'm going to do it again and see if I can keep it more consistent. But you really want a sample that's a relatively solid line. Like this blue sample right there is probably okay. In fact, let's just go ahead and measure that one right there. Like I said, normally you'd be ready with the space bar and you'd hit it immediately, but I kind of have to hold the mic with one hand and then go drop the mic and go hit the space bar for this demonstration. But again, I'm going to just drag my lines in. Now, here's one thing that's going to really mess this up. See this little pitch break right here? So I don't want that in my sample because that's going to completely change my mean. And unfortunately, there's another one right there. So this isn't going to be a good sample. We can take that one out, but if I take that one out, well, I can try it, but I wouldn't want a sample that's that short. Okay, so if I hit and analyze, 776. Now I happen to know that my ceiling is usually a bit higher than that. So that's how you get the habitual pitch and basal and ceiling measurements.